Big news right here. We have the Consumer Price Index report, also known as the CPI report right now. May 10th is here. We're seeing it for April, and that's huge news going forward into the summer market. We've had now 10 months of consecutive inflation drops from 9.1% last summer all the way down to now crossing that old 5% threshold that we haven't seen in a very long time. We're now at 4.9% for the month of April, and that's huge news going forward. It's what we definitely wanted to see. It's not as big as we were thinking due to other factors, but let's get into why this is actually super important for the real estate market moving forward. This is huge news, mostly because experts on both sides of the fence have been saying that May 10th is going to be a pivotal day in the real estate market, because some on one side have touted that this is going to be huge if it's coming in below, which it has, that interest rates are going to come plummeting down, while on the other side of the fence are saying basically it's not going to happen and interest rates are going to stay in the same rocky position that they've been going through in the past few months. Well, the news is here. We've gotten it at about 4.9%, with the core inflation being around 5.5%. The news on the core inflation is that it's pretty much right where it's been pretty much the entire time. It's been floating around that 5.5% mark, but super good news with the 4.5% mark, because it means we finally crossed below. Even so little, we have finally crossed below the 5% threshold. So some of you may be wondering right now, what do mortgage rates have to do with inflation itself? And a lot of people get this confused. They think that short-term interest rates are what the interest rates on mortgages and homes are. They're actually pretty different. They're really not too tied into each other at all. And mortgage rates are more or less tied in with inflation. It's a lot better indicator of how mortgage rates are going to be in the future. That being said, there are things that are happening right now that are actually keeping this news at bay and making it not the most pivotal day that experts really thought of. Employment being one of those things. The employment is incredible. The unemployment is incredibly low right now, and that's really not causing problems for the mortgage rates to lower, but it is kind of hindering it, because low unemployment essentially means that there is a lot of economic activity, and it does have to play into inflation at some point. When there is a lot of economic activity, people have jobs, they're able to spend their money, and it's not as constrained as it otherwise would be if unemployment was a bit higher. So that is something that is actually keeping this at bay just for now. But I just want to quickly give you that news to everyone out there. This is big news in the real estate market. May 10th is a huge day, and it's really kicking off the summer market here with good news. We want to see that if you're a buyer, definitely think about what you're going to do in the future. If you need someone to talk to, I'm your guy. I'll be here. My information is in the description below. But this news is huge. If we continue to see this happen, like I said, in June, you can have situations where if you're a buyer, it gets a little difficult and a little sketchy out there for sure. You're going to have these situations like we had last year where, honestly, people say that it's great and the real estate market's so hot, but it can really get, worrisome and almost stressful for a lot of buyers out there. So you got to be aware of these things if they are happening. It's definitely a good time where you're going to get a good interest rate. And if you get in early, you can probably get a good solid deal and be locked in with a low interest rate without overbidding on a house too much before everybody else comes in. But that's with everybody to make their own decision. You need an expert. I'm here to help. And my information's in the description below. Again, I'm Steve Carson of Century 21. Thanks for listening.